Today we're gonna pay respects to and celebrate epic rap battles of history, the thing that's made this channel what it is today, dead and forgotten, by ranking the series from worst to best, all 86 episodes. So you better believe I watched all 4 hours, 6 minutes, and 52 seconds of the ERB series multiple times! My mental health has never been better! Now before I discuss what I ranked these on, let's discuss what I didn't rank these episodes on. I didn't rank these on the historical accuracy or educational value. I don't care! And I didn't rank these on the cultural impact or the guest stars or any of that other bullshit. No, these battles are ranked on 3 factors. The visuals are 20% of the ranking, the sound is 30% of the ranking, and 50% of the ranking are the jokes. And when looking at the jokes, we're looking at how funny are the jokes and how clever are the jokes. And since humor is subjective, let me let you know what I consider funny in context of a comedy rap battle. 2 words. Ruthless accuracy. And the more clever you can make your ruthless accuracy, the better your jokes will score. I've seen some other people attempt lists like this, and it usually comes from a hodgepodge of committee or just general recollection of the series. But around here, on the official reaction channel of Epic Rap Battles of History, we do it right! So I tortured myself doing nothing but watching every episode in order, in context, multiple times. So I don't want to hear your ding-bad opinions unless you go through what I went through first! This is the definitive, official listing. So starting at number 86, someone has to be last place. And who is more fitting for last place than Sarah Palin versus Lady Gaga? A true stinker from season 1. The visuals are lazy, the jokes are lazy and have aged poorly, the sound is lazy.
Look what we have here! A transvestite with a keyboard trying to be freaking here!
Everything about this is lazy and bad. But coming hot on the tails of the worst ERB ever is Adam vs. Eve, the second worst ERB ever, coming in at number 85. This season 2 stinker has nothing to do with the title characters. It was a thin veil of a man versus woman battle, and the jokes used for man versus woman were basically the jokes that you'd find on one of your dad's old joke books that he sat on the toilet.
I know that you like to think you're so macho, but you smell like ball sacks and nacho.
The only redeeming factor of this whole battle is how awkward Lloyd acted around a hot girl who was half naked. God bless Lloyd's wholesome nerd awkward energy. At number 84, Genghis Khan versus the Easter Bunny. What can you say about this battle? These two are only held together by a flimsy joke about reproduction, and that's hardly even a center point of the battle. It could have been a fun cringe thing they leaned into, but they tried to take the whole bit seriously like a normal rap battle, aside from the announcer having a little bit of hesitation when he introduced the characters.
Genghis Khan! Who's it? The Easter Bunny!
What was the plan here? Whatever it was, it didn't work. It seemed like nobody involved wanted to do it, and they probably shouldn't have. It took until the time of me editing this to realize that I omitted talking about number 83, which is Gandalf versus Dumbledore. It's really bad. It's very sad that these characters were done dirty like this. Moving on. Next, we have John Lennon versus Bill O'Reilly at number 82. I told you, nostalgia, cultural impact, all of that doesn't matter. So just because it's the first episode and what started it all doesn't mean it's a good episode. In fact, it's a bad episode. Speaking of bad episodes, let's travel forward in time to season 6 for number 81. Vlad the Impaler versus Dracula. This felt like a season 1 or 2 entry, but for all the wrong reasons. Lazy backgrounds and visuals, Halloween store looking costumes, and for some reason, Pete thought it'd be a good idea to make Count from Sesame Street jokes.
Check 1, 2.
What even happened here? This is one of those battles that if someone walked in on what you were watching, you'd quickly switch from ERB to porn to make it less uncomfortable. At number 80, we have Oprah Winfrey versus Ellen DeGeneres. This is a battle of missed potential. The 2 women chosen were good representations of the characters, both visually and audibly. Unfortunately, as far as the visual setup aside from that, we're given a basic green screen romp with only one other scene, but worst of all, all, where were the jokes? There were no jokes about Ellen being a sociopath. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, Ellen hadn't been exposed yet. Ellen's been exposed since the start of her career. The only difference is the number of people that are actually in agreement that she's a terrible person. So those insults were very much on the table. You also had no insults about Oprah's fluctuating weight or anything that these two women would actually find insulting. And it was more of a celebration of iconic characters rather than a rap battle. I'm sorry. I'm not here to suck the taint of Oprah and Ellen. I want them to destroy each other! At number 79, let's go back to season 1 for Christopher Columbus versus Captain Kirk. I understand what we tried to do with the William Shatner staccato, but it's almost unlistenable.
Here you call yourself an explorer, but I'm just not having it. You discovered a new world that was already inhabited.
And the battle's very forgettable. Coming in at number 78, you have Mr. T versus Mr. Rogers. The epitome of it's fine. A 5 is the score I use for something that's average. It's on par, it's right in the middle. And that's where Mr. T versus Mr. Rogers is. Not offensively bad, but at the end of the day, it's just not that great. Up next at number 77, we have another stinker from season 6. Guy Fawkes, or whatever, Guy Faux, Guy blah blah, versus Che Guevara, blah blah blah. These two characters are interesting. A lot of potential in this battle, but we didn't see any of that come to fruition. This is another one of those battles that played off is really cringy. Jokes don't really hit. It's bizarre because season 6 has some great hits and then some weird missteps. Going to number 76, you have Blackbeard versus Al Capone. A true sellout of a sellout video after my own heart. Some sort of Assassin's Creed collaboration if I remember correctly. A couple of decent disses.
You ain't a tough guy, my kids dress up like you following.
And that's about it. At number 75, we go back to season 1 for the Battle of the Napoleons. It could have been worse. It definitely could have been better, and it definitely exists. The goofy animation work makes this battle endearing, as do the lowbrow bars. At number 74, we have Donald Trump versus Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, this is one that a lot of people might be like, hey, this battle's great. And I'd say, no, it's not. It's a Christmas carol in rap. That's not funny. Visually, it's mid-tier to low tier for ERB, so I don't know what you're all on about. This might be a good version of a Christmas carol to quickly digest, but it's not a good rap battle. Moving on to number 73, Miley Cyrus versus Joan of Arc. This one's jokes have aged like milk, but even that aside, putting the jokes in the context of when they were written, they're still not that good. And visually, meh. How it sounds?
I'm the hottest thing since Britney, bitch.
Meh. Moving on. Number 72, once again from season 1, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man versus Kim Jong-il. This one had a redo visually, but I'm basing this on the original visuals. And yeah, it's something. This might be the first battle with like multiple characters aside from the main two. Even though I just watched the whole series multiple times in a row, I wasn't keeping track of milestones like that. It's a proof of concept for where the ERB formula was going, and it has some funny moments. Number 71, Babe Ruth versus Lance Armstrong. I don't know. I feel like we're listening to the same 3 jokes be repeated for an entire battle. You're a cheater. You're not a real athlete. Repeat ad nauseum. Number 70, David Copperfield versus Harry Houdini. It leaves such a lasting impact that I don't even remember one notable thing to say about it, except I think Lloyd's wife is in this one, playing like the magician's assistant, so that's wholesome. At Uwu, number 69, is Jeff Bezos versus Mansa Musa. I don't think anybody cares about either of these characters. Nobody really likes Jeff Bezos. Nobody really knows who Mansa Musa is, which one of the best bars of this whole battle is Bezos bringing that up with his Audible disc.
But I've never heard your story, and I own Audible.
The visuals for a modern ERB feel pretty lackluster, aside from the prosthetic for Bezos' weird eye. And I don't know, the whole thing felt more like a lecture of classism than an entertaining battle. I think something like Jeff Bezos versus Lex Luthor would have been a lot more interesting. At number 68, you have Romeo and Juliet versus Bonnie and Clyde. It's fine. It's more of a show performance piece than a traditional rap battle, and some of the jokes actually hit, so it works. At number 67, you have Justin Bieber versus Beethoven. This feels like the outline for what would eventually become a much better battle in Skrillex versus Mozart. One of the biggest problems with this battle is it is so determined to make Justin Bieber look bad that the Justin Bieber performance is intolerable.
Because my voice is incredible and your music is terrible. Who even listens to classical anyway?
What was even happening here? The only good part of this entire battle are the ending lines from Beethoven.
I would smack you, but in Germany we don't hit little girls. You wanna be a little white usher? Here, show them to their seats.
Those two bars carry this whole battle out of the bottom 5 ERBs of all time. At number 66, we have Bob Ross versus Pablo Picasso, the painter's quarrel or something. I don't know, I feel like there's a lot more that could have been done specifically with Bob Ross. They mention his military background, but having Bob Ross snap or something, since he said he vowed to never yell again after doing his military stint. But if he was to go back into that mode and have a dark third ending verse, that seems like a much better use of the character, a much better subversion of expectations, and a much better thing of chaos that makes these battles fun and funny. At number 65, we have Tony Hawk versus Wayne Gretzky. Take my critique of Babe Ruth versus Lance Armstrong, add in the nuance that they did slightly better here, and there you go. At number 64 from season 3, you have Rick Grimes versus Walter White. I believe this is one of the most viewed ERBs of all time. I also believe that it does not deserve that sort of notoriety. This is one of those battles that came out at the right time when both of these franchises were a hot commodity, but as a battle, it's fine. It is not one of ERB's better battles, but it's not notably bad either. At number 63, you have the original Peter versus Lloyd. This one hasn't aged very well, visually, audibly, or otherwise, but some of the insults are pretty good. Definitely doesn't hold a candle to their follow-up version. Number 62, Hitler versus Vader Part 3. This one feels like they made it because everyone expected them to make it, and they didn't really want to make it, and so we got what we got. The worst of the three. At number 61, we have what many people consider the worst ERB of all time for what I assume are political reasons. Bruce Banner versus Bruce Jenner. This battle's far from perfect. The transformation of Bruce to the Hulk and Bruce to Caitlyn was super funny and well done. And they were doing a good balance of being funny without being too political.
Not gender issue. This gender issue. Just you being you is enough to this.
They were so close, but suddenly the battle just kind of ends and Caitlyn just keeps going and Hulk just kind of takes it.
I'm not strong enough to deal with it.
Clearly not the worst ERB of all time. However, it is disappointing in how much potential it squandered in the back half of the battle. At number 60, you have Billy Mays versus Ben Franklin with a special guest appearance from the Slap Chop guy. This battle's pretty fun. Some nice infomercial gags. I like it. Let's take a look at number 59, Dr. Seuss versus William Shakespeare. Now this battle would be way higher on the list, except aside from Watsky's cool rapping skills in it,
Is it pathetically predictable? You think you do McBinding flew the trisyllabic meter and some ghetto muppet creatures?
it's kind of a boring battle, and the jokes don't really land. It's more nerdy than it is funny. And then Epic Lloyd's Thing 1, Thing 2 chipmunk voice to end it all is obnoxious. It's almost something, but not quite something. At number 58, we return to the most current season of ERB with Ragnar Lodbrok versus Richard the Lionheart. Certainly a battle that everyone was hankering for. I don't know, I know these are epic rap battles of history, but sometimes it feels like we're reaching so far into history, we find characters that historically no one really cares about that much. I guess Richard the Lionheart kind of, but ERB has made me interested in characters I didn't care about before. This was not one of those times. I appreciate the structure of the jokes and some of the visual gags, but that's about it. At number 57, we have Hitler versus Darth Vader Part 2. It was nice to see the attention to detail and the intro cutscene and everything, but even on its second entry, this battle felt like something that was being done for clout rather than out of the love for the battle. At number 56 from Season 5, Ash Ketchum versus Charles Darwin. Visually, this has some nice cartoony effects. Sonically, it is not pleasant to listen to, not just because we have the Reese's Pieces obnoxious mispronounced line in here.
Let me say 2 words wrong now. Reese's Pieces.
But just the rapping version of Ash is not that nice to hear. At number 55, let's go back to Season 1 for Abraham Lincoln versus Chuck Norris. This battle is the epitome of stupid but still funny. The Chuck Norris meme that never seems to die versus Abe Lincoln because he has a beard, I guess. There's some good ruthless bars here.
Raps will blow your mind like a verbal John Wilkes.
There's some good stupid fun here.
I make fun of Walker, Texas Ranger, but I've never even seen that show. I am Chuck fucking Norris.
It's not a very witty battle, but it is a pretty funny battle. At number 54, looking at Season 2, we have Frank Sinatra versus Freddie Mercury. A battle that had all the reason to be amazing, but for some reason, it was just a showcase of Freddie Mercury. And this is one of those battles that's just so obnoxiously lopsided, it takes out much of the fun that could have been had. It's not as funny when you're just having one dude get the crap beat out of them. There are some other semi-lopsided battles on this list ranked higher, but with this one, there weren't enough redeeming qualities to really move it up further than this. At number 53, we go to Season 6 with Mother Teresa versus Sigmund Freud, a battle that is heavily carried by its very clever bars, which are also extremely funny if you understand them.
I got lines like the DMV and BME takes bulls, but I ain't got no DNV.
The amount of psychology jokes that are actually well-informed psychology jokes, as well as a few good rips on the church, make this a pretty good battle. Unfortunately, most of it's forgettable, and Sigmund Freud seemed as a character a little more like a Reddit shitposter than an actual psychoanalyst, and that made some of his jokes not hit as hard as they could have. On to number 52, also from Season 6, is Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. The portrayal of Elon Musk in this is odd, as a hyper high-pitched dude.
And I've been flossing since you double-crossed the Winklevoss twins!
When Elon Musk notoriously is a very calm, deep-voiced, monotone guy, I don't know why they played Elon this way. It's like they didn't watch a single interview of him and just kind of went for it. Mark Zuckerberg's persona is captured well.
I wouldn't expect you to understand an org chart, see?
Some of the disses made sense, and the battle's not terrible. Up next to number 51, Mozart versus Skrillex. This battle has some fun musical cues to it, some really fun music jokes in it.
From piano to fortissimo! That means soft to very, very loud! And I'm guessing that you didn't know!
Some decently cold burns, and is pretty alright. At number 50, we have another one of the most viewed ERBs of all time, Cleopatra versus Marilyn Monroe. A visually stunning masterpiece. Wink, wink. Perhaps this is why it's one of the most viewed. It was definitely not like the Oprah Ellen battle, where all the punches were pulled, but at the same time, the connection between these two characters is so loose that even though it was well written, conceptually, it wasn't funny enough to be one of the best battles. At number 49, George Washington versus William Wallace. It's a good battle. There's not much else to say. At number 48, Ronald McDonald versus the Burger King, and Wendy comes in there as well. I think this battle could have been a whole step higher if Wendy was as ruthless in this battle as she is on her Twitter. They tried to give her that bite.
King, you're creepy and you're always second fiddle. Your breakfast croissants are even worse than his McGriddle.
It wasn't quite enough, but the battle's still good. At number 47, we have the Terminator versus the RoboCop. The RoboCop? I don't know. This one's no holds bar, goofy fun. Goofy accents and voice acting.
I control like all the lead. Your move, creep.
Wrong. I have detailed files, the conclusion of your trilogy.
Dick jokes and everything that you want. A solid battle. At number 46, the infamous Batman versus Sherlock Holmes. In rewatching this in context, Pete's Batman has a certain endearing charm. Not in that it's good, but that it's so bad it actually is funny. It's as if Napoleon Dynamite put on the cowl and went to battle.
Nice hat, dork.
And there's something pleasantly fun about them. For a battle that's dunked on as often as this battle, it's pretty well written, pretty funny, and decently shot.
This mustn't register on an emotional level. First, exploit childhood tragedy. Then gesture with pipe. Watson finishes punchline. Next, acknowledge compliment. Conclude with killer catchphrase.
It's not the best battle, and it's certainly cringy and awkward, but it's definitely fun and funny to watch. At number 45, Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Donald Trump is the highlight of this battle, as his insults are brutal.
Campaigns like your family, crash and burn.
But Joe Biden doesn't feel like Joe Biden. He doesn't really stutter or stammer.
No matter what you try to say, global warming ain't cancer.
And they try to make him like a competent old man, and none of that just feels authentic. It felt very forced and fake. ERB's never been coy about taking a political side, but when it interferes with the authenticity of the characters, that's when it's too far. And the disses that Joe Biden had on Trump felt like political talking points rather than disses.
I don't want to defund no police. I picked a DA for my VP. Was Breonna Taylor running? You dog whistling fool. 200,000 deaths lying at your door. You think they're suckers like McCain in the Marine Corps.
We also didn't have Abe Lincoln coming in, which has been a nice staple of these rap battles. You know, the election rap battles. So I don't know, the whole thing just felt one half battle, one half preach. But the half that was battle
If it teach your son a thing or two about life, like there's no hunting season for your dead brother's wife.
was so good that it ranks at number 45 rather than low. At number 44, also from season 6, you have Jacques versus Steve Irwin. Crikey, this battle's fine. That's about it. It It's fine. It's entertaining. At number 43 from season 3, Stephen King versus Edgar Allan Poe. Another entry from Watsky and that other dude, Sherwin Williams or whatever. This one's actually really good, but the reason it's not ranked higher is because while Watsky does a very great homage to Edgar Allan Poe and his writing style,
I will choke this joker with a trochee till his cheeks are teary.
and I can intellectually appreciate this battle. It wasn't as funny as it could have been. It was more witty than funny, and visually it was, It's a great nerdy battle, but not necessarily the funnest battle. At number 42, Goku versus Superman. This battle sounds pretty good, it looks pretty good, and the jokes are pretty good. It's not gonna blow any minds, but hey, it's enjoyable. At number 41 is Thanos versus Oppenheimer. This battle's interesting. I think this is probably the highest rated lopsided battle on the list. Thanos' head is too big for his body, so that's a visual distraction, but the rest of the visuals of this are actually brilliant. The sound design around Oppenheimer is amazing.
I am become death.
And every one of Oppenheimer's verses is just brilliant. Unfortunately, Thanos is like a meme of himself, but there's kind of an endearing cringe factor to that, but I don't know if that was intentional.
My name on this win like it's the Thanos copter.
While Oppenheimer is just laying into him.
You want to talk about death? How about the one that looked at you and swiped left? I'm the destroyer of worlds. You got your nuts handed to you by a squirrel, girl.
And then Thanos is over here just dunking on himself.
You just got no answer for Fortnite's dopest dancer.
So even though the battle's lopsided, and I don't know if that was intentional, it just kind of works here as a what the hell is happening? Oh my god, we're only at the top 40. This video's probably really long, isn't it? Good luck editing this, you dumb fuck. The raw cut of this video is 1 hour and 25 minutes long. I don't know how long the version you're watching is. I'm sure it's shorter. You're welcome. At number 40 from season 4 is Shaka Zulu versus Julius Caesar. Visually quite clever and appealing. The jokes are witty and fun, and it sounds good. Moving on to number 39 from season 2, you have Moses versus Santa Claus. Snoop Dogg in the house. This battle's pretty good. The matchup's really weird again, and of course Snoop Dogg kills it. At number 38, Lewis and Clark versus Bill and Ted. Not the best entry from Rhett and Link, but it's sonically pleasing, and the disses of this battle progressively get better. It starts off not that great, but ends off with a good taste in your mouth. At number 37, you have Zeus versus Thor. Visually, these Lego battles are stunning. Beyond that, this battle's pretty good, but it's more geeky than funny. There are ways to be both geeky and funny, and I don't think this battle does that perfectly. At number 36, Doc Brown versus Doctor Who. Well, technically,
It's just the doctor.
this battle is a better version of geeky, but also funny. Visually, it's not super captivating. Sonically, it's not the best thing to listen to, but it is a very enjoyable battle. At number 35, Hannibal Lecter versus Jack the Ripper, or is it Jack the Ripper versus Hannibal Lecter? Whatever. This one's carried heavily by the performances. Dan Bull and Epic Lloyd own these characters.
Beware if you're a common whore, or at late night you may find me knocking on your door.
Yeah, you're a classic megalomaniac. You haven't mentioned me once in your entire battle rap.
The creep and menacing factor is there. The insults are clever. There's some good funny moments. But at the same time, it also feels tame in a way, in that it's almost too grounded and not ridiculous enough to be super funny. And I think that's the only thing that really holds this battle back from cracking like the top 20. At number 34, Freddy Krueger versus Wolverine. A lot of good ambitious stuff happening in this battle. Small visual gags, quick one-liners. I think the Freddy face prosthetic holds this back a little bit. Looks very rubbery and kind of distracting every time he's doing a verse. And while there's a lot of rapid-fire jokes here, not all of them land, and sometimes it's better to have longer setups for jokes than a bunch of jokes. But this battle's still a very good entry. At number 33, Bruce Lee versus Clint Eastwood. This battle has some of the best jokes in ERB history, at least on Clint Eastwood's side, but Bruce Lee kind of holds back a little. Clint Eastwood goes off the rails inappropriate.
You belong in a fight, you belong in a sweatshop. So go ahead and make my eye pop.
And it's great. I just wish Bruce Lee had a little more bite to his verses. If he did, this battle would be way high. Visually, it's pretty good for older ERB, but is definitely showing its age. At number 32, the Mario Brothers versus the Wright Brothers. This is one of the best sounding ERBs of all time. Such a satisfying aesthetic.
Representing North Carolina. We'll be pressing all your buttons like we're the controller. Conquer every level of your 2D scroller.
And the flows are amazing. It's up near the top of just good sounding ERB. It also felt like a really fun representation of the Mario Brothers.
To me, Mario.
And Luigi, mother...
It's kind of Brooklyn thugs versus the Midwest boys. All of it just works here. The visuals are really fun. And honestly, if this battle was just a little more ruthlessly funny, it'd be a lot higher. At number 31, Barack Obama versus Mitt Romney. I think this is the most viewed ERB of all time because, you know, politics. It's not my favorite political battle of ERB, but it's definitely a good one. And it's aged pretty well. You have the classic Lincoln appearance.
Of the people, by the people, for the people, ego!
You have the two politicians actually going at each other.
Republicans need a puppet and you fed. Got their hands so far up your rear, call you mayor.
That 40% thing got you real mad. What did it remind you how many decent parents you have?
You have minimal obvious political bias. It's good. It's fun. It's funny. There's a reason it's the most viewed thing ERB has done. At number 30, Teddy Roosevelt versus Winston Churchill. This one's for the history nerds out there. The way to combine the geeky with the funny. Great insults, great references, pretty good visuals, all around good battle. At number 29, we go back to season 1 for the first viral video ERB did. Darth Vader versus Adolf Hitler, part 1. Of all the Hitler invaders, this one still has by far the best jokes and insults.
I am Adolf Hitler, command of the Third Reich. Little known fact, also dope on the mic.
So many dudes been with your mom, who even knows if I'm your father?
Your star smells something sour. You need to wash up, dog. Here, step in my shower.
Suck my robot balls. Now take a step back and let me freeze yours off.
A brilliant concept that would launch a franchise. Not one of the top 20 ERBs of all time, but it still holds its own in the top 30. At number 28, Nikola Tesla versus Thomas Edison.
I see a universe of infinite energy, but no potential for threat from this enemy, so you can call me Tesla.
Another greatly educational rap battle with a lot of visual cues to history and a lot of good fun jokes. Not as uproariously laugh out loud funny as I would like it to be, but it's still a solid battle. At number 27, Master Chief versus Leonidas. Now I've heard a lot of people slander this battle over time, and I had thought I might just be misremembering the battle. But I can assure you after watching ERB all the way through once again, this battle still holds up. It's funny, it's immature,
Jerking up the games, giving themselves first-person shooters.
it's mostly lowbrow, and it's great. At number 26, you have J.R.R. Tolkien versus George R.R. Martin. This battle just feels so satisfying. The disses feel very personal and very balanced.
Bad guys die, your good guys survive. We can tell what's gonna happen a page in age 5. Your shit's subpar. You're a pirate. You even stole my RR.
This battle just works. At number 25, Lara Croft versus Indiana Jones. A brilliant concept that is criminally underrated in how many views it's gotten since release. The visuals were superb, the disses were amazing, they didn't hold back on making Indiana Jones exactly who he would be.
He'd be like a reboot, flattened. He used to be the queen of booby trapping. What happened?
It's a fantastic battle from start to finish. This is a top 10 battle if they throw Nathan Drake or even just another character in that arena. They had their reasons not to, but I'm standing by that that's what this battle needed. Not every battle has to be between more than just 2 characters, but this battle in particular needed that. Coming in at number 24, Wonder Woman versus Stevie Wonder. Probably one of the most underrated ERBs that I could think of. Musically brilliant, T-Pain kills it.
I'm spitting on hits and both fingertips, so use the tip of your fingers and read my lips. Now how you gonna talk about a bat being blind?
But the insults were so nice. Funny, brutal, geeky, it all works. Rewatch that battle. At number 23, Gordon Ramsay versus Julia Child. This is one that I didn't know about until more recently. And holy crap! Visually, it's so good the way they emulated the 2 TV shows most known by these characters. The insults were awesome. Lloyd's Ramsay impression sometimes slipped in and out of appropriate accent, but still passed. Julia was done splendidly. This is a great battle. Like, this battle should be talked about a lot more than it is. At number 22, Harry Potter versus Luke Skywalker. Another visual masterpiece by the Lego guys, even better than the Zeus battle. And unlike the Zeus battle, this one had jokes that just hit better. Unfortunately, this battle's a little long, and the jokes take some time to build up. They really save their ammunition for as the battle goes. But as the battle goes, the jokes get great.
The death of my mother saved the wizarding race. Your mum died of heartache when she saw your face.
Death would eat you up without Hermione and luck, because your own skills, Wingardium Levio, suck.
At number 21, Boba Fett versus Deadpool. Now, the Boba Fett jokes here haven't aged great, because now we have a whole Boba Fett TV show, but it's still funny in context of the original trilogy and the prequels, and it's just a good battle. It's voiced splendidly, the visuals are pretty good, sounds good, and all the jokes are just so outlandish and fun. fun. It's another one of ERB's most viewed, and for good reason. At number 20, you have Frederick Douglass versus Thomas Jefferson. Now, while this battle has a little bit of heavy-handed political commentary, it's also very fun and educational. And while I'm not rating it on its educational value, it actually comes into play in making these jokes better in this situation. I honestly think this would have been one of the best battles ERB ever made if they didn't take the easy way out in the last verse by letting Frederick Douglass kind of take over.
So, we cool? This ain't Louisiana, man. I ain't buying it. You talk about freedom, but you ain't applying shit.
You take that out, you have Thomas Jefferson stick to his guns, fight to the end, you have a top 10 battle on your hands. At number 19, we have Rasputin versus Stalin versus Putin versus the Russians. This battle's probably ranked higher on other people's lists, and I wouldn't even be mad at it. For me, personally, my lack of attachment to all of the humor makes some of it less funny. But I appreciate it for what it is, I enjoy it for what it is, but it doesn't crack into the top 10 for me personally, because a lot of it just doesn't land for me as well as it probably does for other people. At number 18, the Johns battle. Rambo, McClane, and Whip. A visually stunning battle, voiced to near perfection, and if we spent a little more time with that John McClane energy,
I haven't stopped killing it since calls for the Tony, and I got your detonators right here. Blow me.
and a little less time making the characters a cringe version of themselves.
Oh, I slip into the jungle, disappear like a ghost. Then ding, I pop up behind you like pop.
Once again, we would have had a top 10 contender. As it stands, it's still fantastic. At number 17, we have Isaac Newton versus Bill Nye, featuring good old Weird Al Yankovic. This battle's fun, this battle's smart, this battle's funny, and it sounds pretty good. What else do you want? At number 16, Nice Peter versus Epic Lloyd Part 2. This feels like what the first one should have been. Actually, ruthless. This battle had people worried that Pete and Lloyd might actually hate each other in real life. It's great. Visually, obviously, it's just, a behind-the-scenes sort of look, so it's nothing to write home about. It's not super memorable so far as the sound of it, but oh man, these jokes are worth it. At number 15, Michael Jordan versus Muhammad Ali. Key and Peele destroyed this battle. So well done. Voiced great, it sounds pretty good, and they did not hold back.
You stay at the Ritz cause you're sold out to crackers. You ain't seen nothing yet. Man, you needed a movement cause you're so full of shit.
Key and Peele seem to understand the assignment of do not hold back. Go at each other's throats, even if it's uncomfortable. That's the kind of energy we like. Number 14, Alexander the Great versus Ivan the Terrible. This is also one of the greatest sounding ERBs of all time. The sung part at the end.
It takes a Russian to take down a Russian. I'm a cat, you're a rodent. How the hell I stay when the state of your hair was such a crazy one?
And just the whole gimmick throughout of Ivan trying to murder everyone.
What's wrong? I feel a bit queasy. You're poison. My expectations were a lot higher. A beautiful queen to beat me in a battle. Accept this gift, your highness, I hear you. Enjoy the saga.
Everything about this battle is just stupid fun that sounds and looks good. It's what you want from an ERB. Speaking of great battles, at number 13, The Artist versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Another battle that I think is criminally underrated. I don't know what people wanted from this. The matchup idea is dumb, the execution is dumb, and it's great.
And I should pass it up to my man on the cellar. Oh, Michelangelo and I'm giant. I make David, but I slay you like a lion. I could be Bob for steady rock a mic sucker. I'm a pristine, sistine nunchucker. Oh, hi, I'm a cool but rude guy. Put you back in school with the tip of my tusa.
It's so much stupid, unadulterated fun that if you don't like it, you're the problem. Speaking of such, at number 12 from season 5 is James Bond versus Austin Powers. Another battle that sounds phenomenal. It looks phenomenal. The impressions are incredible.
It's alright, let's just keep it groovy, baby. Battle exposition told me this will be boring.
Why, pussy, aren't you the cunning linguist?
And the jokes just keep going. Where they went with this battle is just stellar. Coming in at number 11, Jim Henson versus Stan Lee. This is a battle that truly lives up to the epic part of the epic rap battles of history name. A less than stellar and a little bit too timid fight between Henson and Lee prevents this battle from cracking the top 10, but the giant finale with Disney.
Now look at it!
Gaze upon my empire of joy!
Keeps this in the top 20. Now we get into the top 10 ever epic rap battles of history. At number 10, the Eastern philosophers versus the Western philosophers, or the Western versus the Eastern, the philosophers battle. An intensely intellectual romp with some great zingers and a fun plot line kind of a thing to boot. Visually, it didn't break any new grounds, but it was carried by the large nuts of its lyrical prowess and smarts, barely edging out the philosophers, the Ghostbusters versus the Mythbusters. Now this might upset some that it's above the philosophers, even though it's only above the philosophers by 0.01, but it really just comes down to the fact that this is a battle that's pretty much as stellar, but it's visually more appealing, and oh my god, it sounds so good!
The Ghostbusters versus the Mythbusters! Bring out
Your science is preposterous, the opposite of competent process, and in this episode we'll give you a synopsis.
The flows and the caricatures are on point, the costuming, the effects, an amazing battle that if you haven't watched recently, you should go check out again. At number 8, we have the highest rated entry from season 1, Albert Einstein versus Stephen Hawking. This battle has stood the test of time. Visually, it works for what it is. Sonically, it sounds like a masterpiece. The choice to make Stephen Hawking basically like an auto-tuned rapper was brilliantly hilarious.
You've got no idea what you're messing with here, boy.
The jokes are on point, unacceptably offensive.
When I apply my battle theory, minds are relatively blown, so take a seat, Steve. Oh, I see you brought your own.
As well as intelligent, everything works in this battle. At number 7, Gandhi versus Martin Luther King Jr. Key and Peele are at it again, or I think this is the first one they did together. I don't remember which came first, Muhammad Ali or this one. But in any case, they did not tread lightly on the subject matter.
With protestant women, the same advice goes. Always stay away from the hoes.
It sounds amazing. At number 6, Michael Jackson versus Elvis Presley. Another one of those battles that just sounds really good. And for season 2, it looks pretty good. But what makes this battle stand apart is it might be one of the most ruthlessly aggressive battles that ERB has ever done.
Here's a tip, don't swallow a bucket of drugs, so you won't down the toilet, jam hugs are burning low.
You better surrender to talk about them ABCs, cause all you wanna do is teach kids the birds and the bees. I stole from black culture, why are you offended? Your daddy beat gold records out of you like alchemy. Don't make me spank you and dangle your ass off a roof balcony.
The less punches pulled, the better the battle so far as I'm concerned. Nice Peter's version of adult Michael Jackson really deserves more recognition.
Ooh, it's about time for a thriller. Didn't lose any chocolate, I just added vanilla. When you met your own wife when she was only 14, and you made $1, she came to me. I took her to my Neverland ranch to eat.
And Epic Lloyd, as both iterations of Elvis, pulls it off. At number 5, from season 5, Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Oh my god. This battle has aged like the finest of wine. Unlike Biden versus Trump, this battle felt like an actual battle. Epic Lloyd has a way of really channeling the tooth of Donald Trump's insult behavior. Abe Lincoln coming in to steal the show was as satisfying as ever, not to mention he predicted the future of a future election.
If she does win the White House, be a man and hold the door. Don't get your friends stirred up in some sort of Twitter civil war.
Donald Trump's line about the only crack at the glass ceiling being his ass.
You wanna break the glass ceiling, Hillary, I sense it. The only crack you'll find is my ass pressed against it.
Both in how it's visually portrayed, how it's said, and the line itself is still one of the best disses in all of ERB history because it's both smart, clever, and witty, but at the same time so intensely juvenile, dumb, and immature. It's the perfect combination of everything that you'd want in a comedy setup as ludicrous as the entire series premise of epic rap battles of history. Coming in at number 4 from season 4, Steven Spielberg versus Alfred Hitchcock versus Tarantino versus Kubrick versus Michael Bay. This battle goes wild. I appreciated greatly the attention to detail of these directors' collective works and how they're portrayed visually and how they sound.
Who can blockbust all over your crop just to see?
Half your billion should go to John Williams. Now brace yourself as I reveal my brilliance.
To the War of the Worlds of Failures when I label you. It looked like some sellout bullshit Michael Bay would do.
To another take and get it right 127 times. I'll make you learn to love me on the bar. Drop ultraviolet right.
But not only was that that attention to detail given, they didn't skimp on the jokes. And Michael Bay coming in at the end.
There's one thing I've learned, bitch, this game is about motherfucking money!
Once again, just shows that sometimes the best jokes are the most lowbrow. At number 3 from season 2, Steve Jobs versus Bill Gates. Another one of the most viewed epic rap battles of all time, for good reason. This battle sounds wonderful.
Beating you is apple too easy. I make the product that the artist chooses, and the gooey that Melinda uses.
Hal coming in at the end was such a fitting end. There's not much else to say about it. I don't need to sit here and defend it. If you don't realize how great this battle is, go watch it again. At number 2 from season 6, George Carlin versus Richard Pryor. I don't know how, but this battle is just such a pleasant homage to some of the greatest comedy acts of all time. It stays true to the epic rap battle slapstick nonsense, but seems to have an odd amount of heart to it. Joan Rivers is just absolutely wildly amazing in this.
The men that I slept with only wish they were unconscious. My sex jokes offend. You're on the sex offender registry. Oh, who are you wearing now? Is that state penitentiary?
And the Robin Williams conclusion of this is both funny and somehow tugs on the heartstrings.
I love the prince. You'll never have a friend like me. Thanks, folks. That's my time. Gotta set myself free.
This battle is just so well-rounded as a production while still being funny and looking good. It really shows the evolution and development of the epic rap battle guys. And now, the number 1 epic rap battle of all time. To what should be no one's surprise, who has any ounce of taste. The Joker versus Pennywise. And by a decent margin. Now some might say, oh, you only like this battle because it boosted your channel. No! The reason this battle boosted my channel is because it was such a damn good battle, and my reaction to it appreciated how incredible what we were witnessing was. The Joker versus Pennywise is essentially a perfect battle. The only thing that could possibly make this battle better would be something like, it being actual historical figures to match the history part of the ERB label, but since we're not ranking on that, that doesn't matter. Not only is this battle long as fuck, it justifies its runtime. There isn't a dull moment. The insults keep coming. Visually, the things they did with Pennywise, the subtle nods to comic art like the Killing Joke, every reference you could have imagined. Nice Peter does a pretty good Joker. Feels kind of like the Mark Hamill Joker that a lot of other voice actors have emulated. Looks kind of in that vein, like the Arkham City version. He does the job very well. But Lloyd as Pennywise might be one of the best character performances in all of ERB.
Are you joking? You wanna rap? Rap.
Not only does he look the part, but every mannerism, every bit of cadence in his voice, everything is the modern iteration of Pennywise, done by Bill Skarsgård, however you pronounce his name. And of course, the ruthless, no-holds-barred bars were there.
Ask Robin if I drop bars, I take smiles, and I leave scars. Guards at Arkham will admit that the Joker just killed it.
Every piece of this battle is so well constructed, and it's just funny. But Joker versus Pennywise starts strong, the middle is strong, and it ends strong. It is the best epic rap battle, so fuck you. Say fuck you to anyone dumb enough to disagree. You might be thinking, well, what if Lloyd and Peter don't think it's their best one? You think they're dumb? Yes! Fuck you, Lloyd and Pete. I just watched your series multiple times in a row. You probably have never done that. It's your best one. Get over it. I don't care who you are. This is the list. You can flip-flop a couple of these that are within, like a fraction of a point of each other. Fuck you in the comments and everywhere else. Holy shit, that's the list. Help me with my sanity. Join Patreon or buy my album or stream it on Spotify. I don't know. Until next time, I scheme, you scheme, we all scheme for ice cream. Bye!